There are some things that will live in hockey lore forever.
The shot, passing down, rebound, score!
Whether it's a missed call,
blood, cut, 5 minutes automatic.
a disputed goal,
Oh my gracious.
That puck might
oh
be
my
in.
gracious, it
That
went
puck
across
is
the
in.
line.
or a questionable coaching decision.
Why not throw him in there?
They've been argued about over and over again. And the debate isn't over yet. Here are the top 10 most controversial calls in hockey history. Hi, everybody, and welcome to another Sports Center Top 10 special. I'm Darren Detition. As always, we are glad that you tuned in. Now, when a referee's call or non-call affects the outcome of a game, there are going to be some angry players, coaches, and fans. On this show, we're going to relive some of the most controversial calls that are still being debated today. We start with a blown call from the 2012 playoffs.
It was 3-0 for Pittsburgh, and we had nothing going on. We were back on our heels.
Off he goes to Kennedy. Vitale right on the puck at his feet. And a chance now for Danny Briere. He scores! Danny Briere gets the Flyers on the board!
I never thought about it twice. Went back in the room, and that's when some of the guys said, I think it was close. He might have been offside.
And the pass is going to come from Shen up the ice. This play's offside by about 1.5 feet. Oh, the Penguins are not going to be happy when they get a look at this. This play is offside, and Briere makes no mistake on the breakaway over top of Marc-Andre Fleury.
I saw the replay the next day, and I said, yeah, maybe I was, but in my mind, it's still a good goal.
Certainly when you take a still photo of the offsides, the actual play and the call, it's not that hard to decipher.
Was it a momentum changer? At the time, watching that game, I didn't think it was. I thought that, that Pittsburgh clearly had control of that game.
We were up 3-0. I remember distinctly talking on the bench, that's not going to hurt us. It's not going to decide what happens in this game, and we treated it as such.
It changed our mindset. Instead of being on our heels now, from that point on, we start getting on the attack and making plays, and in our mind, we were back in the game.
Danny Briere spins and shoots, scores! Danny Briere struck again, and the Flyers are within one. Yager back for Hartnell. Hartnell shoots, misses for the score! Braden Shen tied the game at 3. Here's Carl to Shen. Carl saves it to puck, going down to score! Jacob Voracek, his first career playoff goal, is the overtime winner.
The Penguins up 3-0, kick away that lead, and the Flyers come all the way back.
There's deciding moments in a series and deciding points in a series, and not being able to hold a 3-0 lead in game one when we're playing real well, and this seems to be a real deciding factor in that series.
I don't believe anybody actually ever heard a whistle at the time of the infraction.
Kovalev trying to get some room to move in front. We're in the final minute of the period. Leach had to move in as Kovalev fell. And Sakic rather coming up, scores! Andy Van Hellemond is waving. Kovalev is hurt.
It probably would hurt. Did it warrant going down and losing possession of the puck? Maybe, maybe not.
He's handling the puck. Craig Wolanin with one hand on the stick gives him the chop on the back. That, to me, was not a vicious chop by any stretch of the imagination.
That really could have been the impetus for us to go on and be victorious in that game, but the goal was called back.
Kovalev was down, and Sakic went in. There was no whistle, and scored a bad goal on Glenn Healy.
I was absolutely livid with the call. I was still livid after the game because I never got a good enough explanation as to why they made the decision that they did.
Andy claimed that he blew the whistle. Of course, none of us heard it.
I don't think it's a goal.
No goal. There had to be a whistle, John. That's the only way that could have been called back. That is to say, no goal.
At the end of that play, you can, in fact, hear a whistle, but the goal had already been scored at that point. It probably changed the tide of this particular series.
It was a difference-making call that probably robbed us of a series win.
Cote, he has a goal in this game, moving down the right side.
I'm doing all my best move I could do.
Alain Cote in front, a shot, he scores! Leonard, it's no goal! Carey Fraser rules, no goal!
Carey Fraser coming up from behind the net and then just waved to the goal wasn't good.
It felt like his stick was jammed up against my foot, and so I couldn't move.
Here's Cote with the play.
Well, I don't know why the penalty would be called on that one, Dick. They're both covering each other. Actually, Naslund is doing quite a job covering his man, and I'd like to get an explanation.
He hooked his skate around the left pad of Brian Hayward. He then took his stick and ushered him out of the crease. So he moved Hayward out of the crease as Alain Cote had cut with the puck in the slot, ready to trigger a shot.
I remember being very relieved when Carey Fraser made the call and called it goalie interference and took away what could have been a crucial goal in the series.
We resumed play. Carbonneau won the face-off. Down the ice they went.
And the bitter rivalry continues. Carbonneau working against Finn. Carbonneau to Ryan Waller. Montreal 3, Quebec 2. 2 minutes and 39 seconds to play in the third period.
I'm pretty sure that's not a good call.
Do I allow the goal? Do I say it was incidental contact or it was Naslund's fault? The right call was to disallow the goal, and I did.
Well, I think we may be hearing and reading a lot about Carey Fraser tomorrow morning.
That was a defining moment that year in the playoffs for me. I had done the Stanley Cup Finals the 2 previous seasons. I never worked another game in the playoffs that year. I was dropped.
Personally, I thought they scored. I thought, I'm like, oh, sugar.
Trying to center it. It's loose. The red light's on. The Flames have scored.
But apparently we had heard otherwise that the whistle had blown and it was the puck went in after the whistle. It was obviously one of those moments where great refereeing came through.
The Calgary players are complaining bitterly to the 3 officials. It looks like it's on the way in, but I'm sure it's in, Harry.
And I can always remember this. Gretzky, with his arm around the referee, heading away from us, away from everybody, over the far side of the ice, saying, that goal wasn't in, you know it wasn't in. And I'm thinking, how do I get to this referee before Gretz does? Gretz did a masterful job. He got to him first.
Almost an impossible call by any of the 3 officials. And if they don't see it go in, they can't call it.
Terry Crisp is enraged.
Uh-oh, look at this guy. This got to be on TV. This will make the top 10. He was just going irate, and rightfully so.
Did it go in? There's the best look you have right there.
Well, he's plenty steam now. Ask him! Ask the camera for face!
I think I had seen it afterwards, and it was like, it was a goal. It was a goal, you know.
Here we are into 5 overtime. Back it comes. Duchesne shooting. Herman kicks that out. Rebound. They score!
The best chip shot of my life. Never saw it go in. All I did was a desperation reach for it.
One of the great upsets in NHL history. They'll be talking about the Krushelnyski goal for a long time, and maybe the goal that was not allowed even longer.
Up next, it is still one of the most talked about Canadian coaching decisions in hockey history.
It's not always the best players that end up being your best shootout guys.
Mark Crawford explains why he left a great one on the bench in Nagano next. In 1998, Canada's men's Olympic hockey team was looking to break its gold medal drought of 46 years, and they appeared to be on their way until meeting up with the Czech Republic in the semifinal. The game went to a shootout, and the game's greatest scorer, Wayne Gretzky, was left on the bench. Dominik Hasek shut down the greatest team in the world, and a nation searched for answers. How could they lose, and why wasn't the great one given an opportunity? Here's controversial hockey moment number 6.
That game between Canada and the Czechs was terrible. It was one of the worst hockey games I've ever seen. And so finally, you get to the shootout.
When it got to the shootout, it kind of was somewhat of foreign territory for most of us.
Wayne Gretzky wasn't selected to shoot.
Till this day, we're surprised why the greatest scorer of all time didn't go shoot in the shootout.
I'm not management. I don't really know what was going on or the reason why they didn't pick him. Why not throw him in there and see if he can, you know, whip one in?
And it's not always the best players that end up being your best shootout guys.
I think I might have picked him.
Gretzky was famous for not being great in breakaways, but he'll point out that he'd actually scored on like 5 straight breakaways up to that point.
Here's a chance for Gretzky on a breakaway. Moving right in. Score!
The great players will find a way to get it done. Maybe Wayne wasn't the greatest shootout player in the world, greatest breakaway player in the world, but I think it sets a pretty good tone right off the hop if Wayne Gretzky shoots.
With the ice being like it was, we thought it had to be shooters, that the dekes were not going to work.
I never expected to be called on a shootout with the great team that we had and all those players, and I was surprised, and but you know, I wasn't going to decline.
I know to this day Crawford is still answering questions about why he didn't choose Gretzky.
At the end of the day, Eric Lindros hit the post and it didn't go in, and Robert Reichel hit the post and it did go in. So that's the difference.
Fleury scores and Lindros scores, Shanahan scores, and they win the game. There's no questions asked.
We did what we thought was right. We did what we thought was going to allow us to win, and it didn't work out. So you got to live with the criticism that comes.
The Red Wings face elimination in this 6th game. Here we go with overtime.
I know it's been a long time, 1966, but I remember the goal.
Broke my heart. Richard with Malone. In over the Detroit line to Malone. Back to Richard. They score!
That little rascal pocket rocket put it in with his hand. I saw it. I was on the ice.
The puck went to the right, and Henry, when the puck went in, Henry was already almost past the net to the left. As we were short and the goal was good.
We looked at the referee and went over and he said, good goal, good goal. And so we knew that there was not going to be, there was no replay back in those times.
And the Montreal Canadiens win the Stanley Cup.
It was toast and it was over. And I cried and I haven't got over it since.
It was so far offside that players on both sides had kind of stopped.
Here's number 21, Butch Goring. To Clark Gillies. Over to Goring. Centers to Sutter. Shoots. He scores! Playing Sutter.
And the Flyers are really mad. They think that goal was offside.
Just 5 feet.
It was at least 2 feet offside.
Then there was no question about that goal. It was offside. Now watch as he goes over the line. It's back out. See that? That's offside. That was an offside goal, and that's why the Flyers are upset.
They just, missed it. So, hey, fine by us.
It was so blatant. No, they all complained, and I don't blame them. Bobby Clark still complaining.
It was 3 or 4 feet offside. It wasn't a close call.
Afterwards, on replay, we saw how much it was offside. It was pretty clear, but at the same time, those are the things that go for you or against you. It could have went against us, and you still got to keep plowing on.
To Tonelli. Here's Tonelli with Nystrom. The pass to Nystrom. He scores!
I'm very confident we would have won anyway.
Well, when you lose, you say it would have affected the way the game turned out. If you win the game, it didn't matter, right?
Coming up.
You mean the infamous Kerry Fraser moment?
Yes, we do. It's the missed call that Kerry Fraser will never live down.
Blood cut, 5 minutes automatic.
It was a play that you just want back.
As pretty much everybody knows, the Toronto Maple Leafs have not won the Stanley Cup since 1967, but many Leaf fans still point to a moment in Game 6 of the 1993 Conference Final against Wayne Gretzky and the LA Kings, a moment that still haunts the Toronto fan base and a referee who missed the call. Now retired, Kerry Fraser is often found here at TSN, and there's some Leaf fans in this building, believe me, who still will not talk to him because of it.
It was a play that you just want back, and you don't get the opportunity to get it back.
Gretzky moving toward the net now. The shot, that's blocked. And it hurt Gilmore. He stopped the shot. It hurt him. He fell.
Blood cut, 5 minutes automatic. We were winning 3-2. Even if we don't score, we just got to kill off the last 2 minutes of the game and just somehow hang on to win. And nope, everything was rewritten.
Don't forget, like they were up 3-2. So it's not one incident that changed the thing. I mean, the game before we won in overtime, and it could have gone their way, and that's the way it is.
Wayne Gretzky stick bob, I believe.
Dougie got clipped, and so we figured, well, he's bleeding, and that's just going to be an automatic penalty. And at that time, Gretz would have got tossed out of the game.
Kerry Fraser's going to the linesman to ask him here. And wouldn't this be something if Wayne Gretzky was thrown out for a high stick?
The puck went back. I focused away. People got in my sight, my vision, and it was at that moment that the quick flick of the stick took place. Just clipped him in the chin, and it was missed.
Here's the shot. McCowan blocks it. Comes back out. Gilmore gets it, and there's where Gretzky's stick came up and hit Gilmore.
How could you miss that? Where it wasn't the puck. I mean, there was nothing else around Dougie and Wayne at the face-off. It was, Wayne's stick that clipped him, and you had two linesmen that either weren't looking at the play or when the puck was dropped, and hey, it's spilt milk now.
He didn't see it, and that's the way it goes.
Zazzle takes the puck away from Robitaille. Robitaille gets it back center. They score! Gretzky scores! And the Los Angeles Kings defeat the Maple Leafs.
That's probably the closest to the finals we've got so far. It's in 6 and 7, right? So that's been the hinge. It's one of the hinging points that everybody keeps bringing back up, so they get to keep seeing it.
Game 6 could have gone either way and almost went Calgary's way when Martin Gelinas, who had already scored 3 series winners in these playoffs, almost got a 4th on his 34th birthday.
Driving the net, get a pass across. It's my skate, and I'm kind of looking over the crease, over his pad. I'm thinking, that puck is in.
Zaprikin's great speed, springs it in, off the glove, the stick and glove of Javi Ball.
You figure, with the technology and everything going on, that they would see it and phone right away, and that didn't happen. So, but my first reaction, I said, that puck is in.
It hits Gelinas' skate and goes off the right pad of Javi Bulin.
Really, the only two guys that even thought it was in, and kind of that end of the crowd stood up like we scored. But then Zaprikin came to the bench. He goes, no, it was in the net. His pad was in the net.
Oh my gracious!
That puck might be in.
Gracious! It
that
went
puck
across
is
the
in.
line. It absolutely is in.
It's being reviewed right now upstairs. Gelinas sees the puck. He goes to stop. His right skate redirects the puck in.
The puck goes in off Gelinas' skate towards the right pad of Nikolai Khabibulin. Now it appears to cross the line, but does it? Quite frankly, it's almost impossible to decipher.
The puck will go over the line and hit the goal pad.
Right there.
It's over, and then back out.
It wasn't until I was walking out with my dad out of the rink that he was the one that said he was able to see it live, saw a couple replays, obviously believed that it was in.
Hammered in, was tipped in front of it. They score! St. Louis comes in and put a high one in there, and they pour off the bench over there. And look out, there's a 7th game coming up.
Although I'll recall those times with a lot of fondness, that was obviously a tough pill to swallow.
I felt robbed. I felt that our team was robbed of winning a Stanley Cup, our city.
You've seen the top 9.
That's highway robbery.
How can this happen?
We unveil our #1 most controversial moment next.
Belfour clears it around the boards. It hit a Jet player, went in the net. Oh, that can't be a goal.
Closes his hand on it. That should have been a penalty. And then he drops it in the crease.
Oh, he gave him a goal.
There's absolutely this is highway robbery.
Oh, here comes Daryl Sutter across the ice.
Absolute joke. There's no way. Morrell made the call, said it was a goal, but there's no way. That's not a goal.
Line working this shift with Hannon as Hannon knocked down a pass and taken by Duchesne to the score.
Watch the puck and Duchesne as his skates over before
Does
the
he
puck.
precede?
Oh,
Yes.
man, like 3 feet. The guy is 2 to 3 feet offside, and there's no appeal to it, I guess.
They're facing off at center.
Scramble in front. Quick shot at the goal. It's waved off. Kings think they've scored. They're celebrating. Let's take a look at it from the overhead.
Watch the clock run down. Look at that. Look at that. That thing stopped at 1.8 seconds.
Now they're now signaling that the Kings have won it here with the last second goal.
Shoots one in. They're after it again. Paplitzky going in. Score! The Calgary Flames have finally done it. Another look at it. Paplitzky just throws it into the maze. Otto is going through the net. Here it is. Otto's skate past Kurt the plate.
The 1990s were filled with heartbreak for the city of Buffalo. They watched Scott Norwood's potential game-winning field goal sail wide right in 1991, and then they followed it up with 3 more consecutive Super Bowl losses. The rest of the decade was pretty quiet until the Sabres surprised everybody with a Stanley Cup Finals appearance against the Dallas Stars in 1999.
It was a long night.
The Dallas Stars and the Buffalo Sabres are tied at 1-1 as we get set for the 3rd overtime game.
I wish somebody would end the suspense here. Man. 2 bags of IV, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, it was a tad controversial, I suppose.
Well, it did count, so let's just start there.
Just by Hull. Shot to Yari Lettman. Hull, loose puck. Hull, shot. Star! The Dallas Stars! Brett Hull! They've won the Stanley Cup! Deep in the heart of Texas, the Stars are shining!
According to every rule that we've known all that season long, it was not a goal.
And none other than Brett Hull gets the game-winning goal!
It took away proper protocol, which is the referee getting a call from upstairs to okay a goal. And I think the thing that upset us the most is that process wasn't followed after that goal. And I think if it was, the goal wouldn't have been allowed. Lindy Ruff and I went out to the bench and let Gary Bettman know how we felt in several different fashions. It was a very devastating moment.
I just wanted an explanation. Just tell me, listen, it's a good goal, it's not a good goal. There was no answer. There was no review, there was no answer.
But it should have been called back, and it wasn't called back. And then, of course, later we found out about this mysterious memo that apparently had come from the league as a directive to all the teams.
The Board of Governors changed the rule halfway through that season. They decided if you had possession while you were in the crease, you could score a goal. And now, what's your definition of possession? I don't know, but to me, if I can get it to my stick and shoot it, I have possession.
Brian Lewis did say, under the rules, that Brett Hull, yes, he was indeed in the crease, but because it was him that had possession of the puck with his skate inside the crease and then still had possession outside the crease, he was the player that was able to score the goal.
Nobody needs this to be an issue.
Everywhere I go, almost daily, someone says, no goal.
Be the final 2 words for this summer. No goal.
I'll live in infamy forever as one of the most talked about goals in the history of the game. Kind of like Bobby Orr flying through the air. It's not quite as celebrated.
Whenever there's a game, there's controversy sure to follow. We hope you enjoyed our show. From all of us here, thanks for watching again, folks. We'll see you real soon. Bye-bye for now.